Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about how to pass first year of computing at Bournemouth University. Today's list is going to be things that I wished I knew myself before starting Bournemouth, just to get that bit of advantage. So I thought I'd give you guys the advantage from my personal point of view. And that's all these are, personal point of views. So everyone has their own experience at university, so don't take it to heart. And some of these things are a joke, but some of these things are serious. And I actually show you my course on what we actually did. So there's only one rule you need to know when coming to Bournemouth University to study computing, and that rule is Gernot is king. I don't know why. I cannot explain fully why, but just know Gernot is king. So you're probably wondering who is Gernot. Gernot is one of the project leaders, I believe, and he looks over the other like seminars and lecturers that actually teach us. And Gernot is the lead in software engineering. So we actually got taught by Gernot in a lot of our lectures, and I think the reason students call him king, the god, Gernot the god, all kinds of different words they'll call him. And just before you think I'm making it up, here's a student who's finished university about a year ago, and so I just started university as she finished, and this is what she had to say.
Gernot is king. Like, he's lit. I don't care. Like, he's Bournemouth. Gernot's lit. And if Gernot sees this, just remember me, Gernot, man. I'm doing a master's now, so.
What's your name? Gernot, so
Sandra.
Yeah, so if you think I'm making that up, that's from the student I met from interviewing on my other YouTube called Plugged In University, and that was a year ago, and obviously it still stands. The reason I think Gernot is so liked is because his personality is very bubbly, and he's a very nice person to talk to. I've spoken to Gernot personally as I've been a computing rep, and he's just a really cool guy to be around. Not saying the other lecturers and seminars aren't, but he's just got a very different personality to the rest of them, and I think a lot of students circulate around to him. So yeah, Gernot is king. That's all you need. If you've got any problems, obviously don't always go to Gernot. You do have lecturers and seminar teachers, but I know a lot of students do go to Gernot because they just trust him and they like him a lot. Okay, second rule, make friends. Most important thing you can do on our course is make friends. Listen, I don't think I would have passed my first year without the friends I've made in my computing course. And I'm not saying you have to make hundreds and thousands. Even if you have a small group of 5 or 6 of guys who kind of know what they're doing or kind of help each other, you need friends to help you, give you different point of views and opinions. Because I know I thought I was doing something and I actually found out I was doing it wrong. And only by talking to people, I actually found out the way I was going about it was wrong. So friends are your biggest assets. I can't even explain how helpful your friends will be when passing your first year of university. Third rule, ask questions. So you don't have to ask in lectures or seminars. You can email your lecturers and seminar teachers, and you can kind of meet them on the side. The reason I say ask questions in lectures because you'd be surprised how many people want to know the same thing. So I remember there's times that I put up my hand and then I've asked something that may seem stupid or may seem like it is like very basic, but you see some other students writing it down and it just shows they're not confident enough to ask the question, and they would have not gotten the answer to that question unless they went out of themselves and went to the lecturer and actually talked to them themselves. But just because obviously me, if I have something to ask and I don't really know, I'll straight up put up my hand and be like, what is that? I just don't get it. And yeah, so ask questions. If you don't know, clarify it, because trust me, on this course, you need to know what you're doing. If you don't have clarification, you could mess up drastically and it could mean you fail in the course. Next, go out. So in your first year, although they say it doesn't matter, it does. Your first year grade is what's going to help you actually get a job in your third year. Also, your first year sets the foundation of your work ethic in your next years. Yes, you could say, yeah, first year is just a bit of fun, then I'll pattern down. But if you've already got that mindset of, I can do the work next day, or I can just miss this lecture, you probably won't mind missing a lecture in your second year. You probably won't mind missing 2 lectures in your second year. Probably mind 3. If you say to yourself in first year, if you've already got the headset to go to your lectures, do this, do that, trust me, it will continue into your second year, and you'll keep that first year kind of mindset. And also, if you get a good grade in your first year, you're going to want to do as well in your second year. and that's the new goal. You have to try beat your goal in your second year. But if you get let's say if you just scrape a pass, not saying there's anything wrong with that, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with your grade, but let's say if you just scrape a pass, now your target is past a pass. But if you got a 2-1, 2-2, or a first, your target is now a first or a 2-1. So you set the foundation of what you want and where you want. And with going out, it's more of just you need to work, but also balance your life. You can't go 24 hours into your work, because you will end up getting frustrated and you end up just not doing the work at all. If you just try all day, work, you're not going to have, it's the university experience, and it's that balance of, if you want a 50-20, 60-40, 70-30, that's up to you, but you need to find what's right for you with the balance of going out and doing your work. And the next one is actually having fun. So if you don't have fun in your course, you're not going to enjoy computing. Computing is very long, very specific, and very logical. And if you don't think you're going to enjoy figuring out and problem solving, I do not suggest it, because I would say the majority of computing is problem solving. So the way I got from my first year is they don't really tell you, they tell you, but you can have to figure out the actual answer for yourself. So you have to problem solve and figure out what they actually want from each answer. The next point is get a computer and iPad. So I took a laptop to uni, and my laptop actually failed on me. But luckily, I had an iPad as a backup, which I can record notes. I could, what could I do? I can look at the seminars. I can log into, say, my sign-in. My iPad saved my life when it came to university and doing work, because I can get all my PowerPoints and stuff, and I can upload them, transfer files. And because my laptop wasn't working properly and it just decided to give out, that was my backup when it came to anything. So for your first year, you do not need a high-powered, you could get the most rubbish computer ever, because you won't actually be doing any. You could get a decent computer. It will make it easier, because then you could do your coding at home. But the facilities Bournemouth give you, we have our own computer room that's open 24/7. We have another computer room that you could get the password to. You've got the library, which is open to, I think, 10. You've got, well, the new building we're not technically allowed in, but you could use, I believe, yeah, you can use 24/7. I stayed there till like 10, 11 before. And those computers are new, high-powered, big, huge screens, and you could just use them. They're more for animation students, but there's a little section you could just go there and just use it. But yeah, so get a computer that's decent, or use an iPad, because if you just got an iPad, you use it for like taking notes and everything, then use their computers. Or obviously, if you can't afford a computer that's of good spec, you could just as I said, get the iPod, or get a good computer. But you don't really need anything you don't need anything for your first year, to be honest. Everything is really provided. You don't need any high powered stuff. Next, show up for 90% of the lectures. So your lecturers and seminar teachers will tell you show up for 100%, because there is a correlation between students who don't come to the lectures and that fail. I can tell you firsthand, it's true. I've missed some lectures and seminars, and some of them were important, some of them weren't. They were simply important because when we had a test, it actually came up to them, some of the questions coming up, that if I went to that lecture or seminar, I would have known it. And in your first year, you kind of fall into this. Well, I fell into because of the freedom now, I kind of have to do everything myself. So I was like, some mornings I'd wake up, it's just not the day, and it's just really long to go there. You can look back at the seminars or the lecturers, and you can do the seminar work at home, but go to your lectures. That's why I say 90%, because you might not go to all of them, but at least try to go to 90% of them, especially in your first year, again, to set that foundation, to say at least you went to a majority of them, because some of them aren't as important. So I know one lecturer that we went to was like a general computing lecturer, and it wasn't mandatory to go. There was no they took a register or anything. And that's another thing, they do take registers at university. So if you think you can skip out, they take registers. But it was a general, and it was more of just explaining stuff. So if you didn't really understand stuff, go to the general. But if you didn't have to go to the general, and it's up to you really. Next, get involved with your seminar leaders. Listen, these are the guys that are going to be marking your tests. Be good with them. If they know your name, they know who you are, they're more likely to unconsciously mark your work better, or mark your work they'll be more lenient. Obviously, if they don't like you, they might not see your name, but you can kind of understand by the way people code over a while. Everyone has their own way of coding, and everyone has their own way of doing things, and that's the beautiful thing with coding. There is a million different ways to do the same thing. So although they might not mean to, and obviously it comes in everything, just the way people are in general, they will be, if they know you, and they're also going to help, they're more likely to help you, they're more likely to talk to you, they're more likely to give you more helpful advice. So just be good with your lectures and seminars. Let them know who you are, let them know you're trying to help them, or you're trying to do things. Let them know you're trying to work, because if they see you're actually trying in this course, they will help you. That's what they're there for, to help you get past this course. Next, preparing for the course. So now I'm going to switch to my computer and show you everything I did in my first year with each subject and what we had to know and do. So I'm just going to switch to the computer now. So just to kind of give the background, this is who Gernot is. This is his like biography. Gernot is obviously with a little crown. Yeah, this is Gernot. So this right here is called Brightspace. This is where everything to do with your course will be. So as you can see, here are the different subjects for your first year. So just to explain how it kind of works in your first year at Bournemouth University, we do everything. So we do networks and cybersecurity, applications, business, principles of programming, data and databases, computer fundamentals. What they do this for is you kind of dip your toes into everything. So it's kind of like if you don't know if you like this more, if you don't know you like that more. Like for me, I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my my first year, so I went for the course, and this is more of a general course where they just, as I said, dip you to a bit of everything, so you kind of have a feel of what you actually want to do and what you actually like. So if we just go from the top, networks and cybersecurity. So this is all, by the way, based off if they don't really change anything in the course, which they probably will change in the year. So obviously now we're going into COVID time, so they might change the course a little bit, but they obviously won't change it dramatically, but this is kind of just what we did for our first year. So if I go to content, so as you can see here, this is the kind of the layout of what it will look like. So you got your lectures and labs. So this is the stuff that we did in our first year. So IP addressing, routers, networks, local areas, all this good stuff you kind of get into. And these are the labs. So these are the seminars. So when you go to your lectures, you do your lectures as a whole, and then you go into little groups of, like, I think our group was about 15 or 20 students, and we kind of just do little tasks to make sure we understood what happened in the lectures. And this is the cybersecurity part. So these are all the cybersecurity lectures and all the labs. And the assignment we had for our year, I believe we had to, for the networks, we had to make a what do you call it? We had to make our own NAT work, so our own like network. So I'm gonna blur this out just in case I'm not allowed to show this. But we had to make basically our own network, and yeah, we may have to make our own network on Packet Tracer. That's what it is. So with what Packet Tracer is, when you also come to uni, you will get access to this called All Apps Anywhere. So this All Apps Anywhere will give you access to all the apps that you need for your course. So Packet Tracer should be with the P. So Packet Tracer here. So we'll use this Packet Tracer. Or we basically just had to make our own like network layout. What we also had to do was a cybersecurity test. No, not a cyber. Yeah, we had to do a cybersecurity test, and we had to do a cybersecurity kind of with our network that we made from the LAN. We had to write the security flaws and how someone could access it and how to prevent them from accessing it. So this, for me, was done for a simple Word document. And the reason I can't show you is because of plagiarism. Because if I show you my work, you might copy it and you will get done for plagiarism and just fail at all. So for networks and cybersecurity, I got 52 on the online test. So to kind of tell you how it works, it's 70% and above for a first, 60 to 65, I believe. Let's just get how much for a, we can literally Google what it is. There's no point in me trying to say it when I could just Google it. So if we look here, so This is really okay. That's a bit different. Oh, here we are. So first, 70% and above, upper class second. So that's a 2-1, 60 to 70, lower class second, 50 to 60, third class is 40 to 50. And obviously anything below that will probably be a fail. So I got 52 in the online test. So for the online test, I got a 2-2. And for the networks and security design, I got a 2-1. So the way they do is they kind of average it out. So I can't remember what I averaged out to, but I worked it out. So networks and cybersecurity is basically kind of just to sum up the whole thing is how networks work with LAN, WAN, Wi-Fi, routers, just a basic kind of network and how it works. Cybersecurity is like encryption, um, prevention. So, one thing you should learn is called, oh, Alex always told us about this. There's three things called CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and accessibility. So what CIA is with confident, basically keeping your stuff from people getting access to it, is how with your system you need, if but the way it works is what has, when someone hacks the system, what has been broken between these three things. So with the confidentiality, it's if someone has been able to gain access to a system and steal information, the confidentiality of that information obviously been compromised. If the integrity is, if someone goes into the system and changes it, the integrity of the system has been changed. And accessibility is someone being able to get access to the, like, getting actual access to the system. Oh no, accessibility is someone being stopping access. So like when somebody uses a botnet to kind of stop your network, or somebody just stops your internet working, obviously the accessibility to you getting your access to your internet or access to your files has been stopped. So that's the CIA trait, and that's something we get taught. Like, it came up in our test. So I do believe it might come up in yours no matter what year you're in. But CIA trait: confidentiality, integrity, and accessibility. So if we go into the next subject, which is applications of programming. So I believe this was the assignment where we had to create our own. Yes, this for me was one of my hardest subjects. This is where the friend came in. This takes coding to a new level. We had to code our own front end and back end for a simple user database. And we used HTML, Python, and Java, and JSON, not Java, JSON. And it was hard. It was, although they gave us the resources, the problem we had here was this is kind of when Corona hit, so we didn't have as many lectures and seminars. But this is one of the hardest assignments. This I can show you because you can't really copy this, so I'm not going to show you my code. Okay, so we're back. Sorry about that. So this is what they give you. This is the layout they give you, basically. And you basically have to take this, redesign it with everything they've taught you on the looks, the layout, and it's got to be a working kind of database. So what I did with this is I kept the basic and I decided just to make it like this. So you have it's a bit broken right now because to actually make everything load in properly in place and for it to actually work, you need the program to run it. And the programs we use for this is, some people use their own, but we actually used, if I remember, Visual Studio, I think it was. I can't remember, and Python. Visual Studio, Python, and I believe that's it. We just use Visual Studio and Python. But you can use your own like kind of platform if you want to code in something else. So this is what it will actually look like. So I've kind of shown you the reason it's kind of like this is because it hasn't got all the stuff added. Because if I had the actual program open, you could see what it actually looks like. But this is kind of an idea. So I've kind of rearranged everything. But let's just say everything works. And the reason it can't load any data, it has no data because all the data is, again, it's on all the files and everything. But yeah, just know it's a very long task and you should do it as quick as possible. The quicker the better. But for this, I believe I got 82 out of 100. So that would be a first. I got for this. And I will say it straight, I could not have passed this without one of my friends. He completely helped me, and yeah. So friends are the biggest things you can get while at university. Business and system designs. So with at Bournemouth, this was the one subject that I personally did not get a lot, but I want to look more into because I feel like it could help a lot. So to talk about this course, you kind of learn how systems work for a business and teamwork. So we done things like you have to work out how a system works for a company. So let's get, if we go Amazon, first of all, you have the different roles at Amazon. So manager, user, senior manager, worker, and what roles they have. And when they do something, how does it work? So say if a user orders wood, first of all, the system has to go to the storage and see if there's any wood. If there's no wood, it's got to check the, like, say there's no wood and send it to the person who looks for wood, and that person who looks for wood obviously needs to order it, and when they order it needs to have an order number attached, and when the order number is attached you have to have the receipt. So basically the whole system of how it works is what you have to figure out. And then when you have things like if someone needs something, who does it go to? Does it go to the manager, or does it go to the senior manager? What does the manager deal with? And it's like a whole intricate system that you have to kind of work out. This wasn't my best, I don't think, but this is what this section of it is more about you working as a team than it is about you understanding the actual business system analysis. So what I mean by this is, for this we had 2 assignments, I believe, and it was you had to do something as a team and you had to do something else. And I can't remember what the other thing was, but kind of just to give the thing that I remember is the B side, which is it's a week. For us it was a bit different because again, this is when Corona hit, so this is why this is all a bit iffy. But you had to get a team. They gave us like a brief, and we had to basically just write it all out, and it took a while. And it does take you having good teammates. So again, this is where friends come into it. Our group was actually split. The group I would normally hang with, and I was with some guys who were pretty skilled. And we actually asked if we could be together. We ended up being together, and I don't think I would have gotten the grade I did without these guys. Like, these guys are really helpful. You had to create your own little web page, and that's another thing. You do like HTML and everything, but you had to create your own little web page. And yeah, it was I can't really explain this one because this was a bit, again, this is when Corona hit and everything just went a bit crazy. So to kind of prepare for this, start learning communication skills, I would say, and start learning systems. Okay, so for the next one, we go to principles of programming. So this is more to just do with basic coding. For this, I believe we done Java, HTML, SQL, no, Java and HTML. So with Java, we learn the basics to intricate, and we learn for HTML, we learn the basics to intricate again. So the basic would be, you know, like the hello. The intricate would be so how you can do manual RAM sorting and sorting out rubbish and literally different things here and there. It goes into a lot. So if you want to prepare for this, learn your Java, learn your Python, learn your HTML. So as you can see, like Java, web, Java, web, Java, web, Java is literally just Java and HTML you're pretty much doing. Okay. If we go into data and databases, so this is where the Gernot is king would come back. So Gernot was one of our lecturers for this, and this is data and databases. So for this, oh, I forgot to say, for principles of programming, we used Java, what did we use? I can't remember what we used. I believe we used Java SE, but Eclipse, that's what we used. We used Eclipse for this, for that HTML and Java, and it's just little things here and there. We use GitHub too to kind of share work. So for SQL, we use SQL Developer. And in SQL, so this is data and databases. You basically learn how a database works, what a database is. I would say for your first year, this section is more logic than actual coding. So the logic side of what a database is, what different databases, how databases have developed, you know, like I literally just everything to do with databases on a concept level. So I believe that's what we do kind of in our first year. It teaches you the concepts and everything to do with coding, to do with the coding in general. So again, this is a lecturer's and the assignment was to actually make our own database of information. And it wasn't too hard. It was, again, friends made it a lot easier. And yeah, kind of just like little things like how databases stored. Like, so to prepare for this, learn your SQL commands, because that's something that I remember did come up on a test. And by the way, I forgot to even say, you do some of these are tests. The reason we didn't have tests for some of these is because Corona, but I remember saying in the test, it's very different being in a test to being in a as in the school. I came from sixth form A-level background, and the room is much more bigger. There's much more people around you, and it's just, remember your Bournemouth card. So they actually do ask for your Bournemouth card, but you do put it down because it obviously has your code and your number, and go to the right place. I went to the wrong place, and obviously luckily I got to do it, but I should have been somewhere else. But it's very intense in there, and you can finish early if you want, but use all the time, go over your answers. Even if you feel confident, go over it again, because you never know, you might miss something, and try to be clear. So yeah. And lastly, we go to computer fundamentals. So when I first read this, I didn't really understand what it mean. It was like, what is, you kind of Google it, computer fundamentals, like the fundamentals of computing. All this is literally, it's all about computers, hardware, and software. So for this course, for this section of the course, I suggest you literally to learn about the laptop and computer, so the different components. So motherboard, what's a motherboard for? RAM, what's RAM for? And then oh god, that's really bad. RAM, motherboard, mouses, what else is on the motherboard? Your Ethernet cables, your audios. So what is that? All the components of a computer, and then learn how those components work. So with RAM, there's different sections to RAM. As you can see here, is it RAM automating OS? So OS is the operating system. So you've got your Linux, you've got your Apple, you've got your Xbox, your Microsoft, you've got Windows 10, you've got Mac OS. So just learn about that and who they are and the different things. Microprocessors, so your CPUs. And then where computer fundamentals goes haywire, where I wish I knew it before, was your Booleans. They go into excess to do with Booleans, and it's crazy. So you know your binaries, your ones and zeros, and working out and everything. With your Booleans, there are one part that completely got me off, was these working out these types of Boolean. So this. So your logic, your Boolean logic and your logic gates, that's what it was. So these, so I'll just push myself over here. These you need to know by heart. It's not oh, maybe I don't know it, maybe I do know it. There's a whole graph, and there is a way to work it out, which you will learn, but you need to know these. This did come up in the test, I believe, and I couldn't answer these. I didn't get these, and yeah, I can't talk too tough about these. These were hard for me. Some students found them easy, obviously, because they knew them before, but these were a bit hard for me. So I think that kind of sums everything up to kind of say about this course. So the last note I wrote about kind of trying to make this video is passing. How do you actually pass? You just enjoy it. That's the answer. This is you chose it. And if you don't enjoy it, you can always change your course to do something you wish. So if you want to change and do something like sports, business, geography, science related, mathematics, physics, you can always change, but enjoy your course. That's how you pass. If you're not enjoying it, you will not pass, because you've got another 4 or 3 years to go. So your first year kind of gives you that touch to say, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? So that's kind of it for me. It's obviously, it's been Calvin. It's been, don't forget to like, subscribe, and there's going to be more videos coming out. Thank you for watching.